Yeah.
Let's bring yourself, your being fully into the moment to just speak it out, share it out, let that out. And that is healing. Like that's liberation.
Unwanted desire and unwanted sexuality can do immense amounts of harm. And so can suppressing life force energy itself in a human being.
What we imagine, our imagination, what comes to us when we are truly clear is divine.
Masculinity is not toxic. Masculinity is medicine. Welcome to the ReMasculation Podcast. This show is dedicated to the exploration, celebration, and pursuit of healthy masculinity in the modern world, with a view towards helping end the battle of the sexes and bringing men and women back together by turning the battlefield of the culture wars into a garden once again. I'm your host, Michael Bates, and my mission is to ignite and accelerate the evolution of men everywhere across this planet in our lifetime in service of something greater, our shared humanity. Welcome.
I am joined today by someone very special. Her name is Liv. I've known her by a few different names. Olivia Pavlov. Liv Love is who you are now and who you are known as. We've known each other since 2018, where we met at a little old thing in the desert called Burning Man, where you showed up on my dance floor at Rhythm Wave with an idea, which we may or may not get to. But we ended up teaching a sex magic workshop together in Brooklyn, in New York. And you are many things. You are a Dakini, which we'll unpack what that is. You are an intimacy coach. You're a mama. You got a little bundle of joy named Anna Rose, who has become quite the superstar in the community here in Austin. And yeah, hi, Liv.
Hey, Michael.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad we're doing this too.
Me too. So you know men in a way that I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of people don't get a chance to. A lot of people just aren't living their lives in a way that has allowed them the permission to be of service in a way that you truly deeply are. And so I want to start by asking you a question. What do men need right now? Like, what do men really need? Like in your work, like what are men really looking for?
At the heart of it, I think men need permission to be everything that they are. And the reminder that the world needs men in their whole range of their animal, their director, their provider, their boy, their king. Yeah, I think that's what men need most is
permission.
Permission to be all of them. Yeah.
How do they do that?
Great question.
I guess that's more where I come in.
Yeah.
And the King's Code.
Yeah, and the King's Code. But no, I guess I would say my work also supports men to be all of them, to be more of them, to look at the parts of themselves, whether it's their, their wounds or their inner tender parts or their animal or their predator or, the parts that aren't just always seen in the light of day and to be seen in those parts with love and acceptance and faced and brought into wholeness in themselves. So yeah, I would say facing themselves and revealing parts of themselves to someone, whoever it is, whether it's a Dakini, whether it's their men's coach, whether it's their family, their partner, right? Wherever they've been hiding, I think bringing those parts to be seen.
Yeah. What is a Dakini, Liv?
Well, the word Dakini means sky dancer. That's the actual translation, as you know. And to me, what that means is walking with one foot in the other realms or in heaven or in magic and the other foot on the earth. So really bridging spirituality and magic and very practical, mundane 3D being a human. And the way that I use that word is that I offer tantric healing sessions for men, for women, for couples. And that is the archetype that I'm holding, right? That's similar to a priestess, but also really focused on bringing wholeness, I would say is the intention of a Dakini, bringing wholeness.
Bringing wholeness. Yeah. And you mentioned, I mean, I know a lot of my listeners know these terms. These are not uncommon terms. Dakini, you mentioned tantra. How do you, I feel like tantra is one of the most misrepresented words now, especially in the quote unquote conscious community. Tantra this, tantra that. There's neo-tantra, there's traditional tantra, there's Vajrayana, there's tantric Shivaism. What do you mean when you say tantra, and how does it apply to your work specifically?
I like to come back to the definition of the word when we translate it. So tantra means to weave together all of these lineages, I would say, as a starting point, to weave together all the parts of ourself, our shadow, our spiritual self, our physical self, our desires, our mundane everyday life, our emotional body. To me, tantric healing and tantric philosophy is about weaving together, and that there's no part of life and there's no part of existence and no part of the self that's left out.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, a really powerful way of thinking about that weaving that tantra is the weaving back together of the sacred and the sexual, which has been so divorced in our culture for such a long time. And not simply in the West, not simply in the Judeo-Christian Islamic traditions, but I mean, there's not, Buddhism isn't the sexiest religion in the world. Let's put it that way. So for me, it's this, I work with so many men, and we work a lot with shame. And one of the biggest pieces, I think, for men and women is the component of sexual shame that gets brought in very early. You see little kids touching themselves. You see boys and girls sort of like maybe rubbing on the floor, these things that just feel really healthy, really natural. And suddenly don't do that, in front of the in-laws or at the restaurant or this or that. And it becomes from the get-go, this clench in the nervous system, this tightening. And as I see it for men, as it was from my own journey in sexuality, there's this really healthy, natural drive to procreate that is so a part of us. It's the animal, it's the part of us that is life itself, trying to make more life. How could that be a bad thing? And when it's done unconsciously or without education or without an awareness of the potential impacts from, say, pregnancy or STDs, or also just the nature of what I think you and I dive into, which are the deeper esoteric opportunities that exist in the sexual act, the act that literally produces life. From where? Like, from where does that soul spirit that becomes a person arrive, right? There's a sperm, there's an egg, but then something happens, poof, and there's a person. That energy is a tremendous amount of energy. And in our culture, because it's been such a taboo thing, it's been so relegated to the closet, to the shadows, to the depths. It comes out sideways. And so how do we weave together the sacred and the sexual? How do we help our brothers and sisters understand how to wield sex in a way that is healthy, clean, and shame-free, but also just taking into account the enormousness of the process and the potential implications for good and for bad? That's a big question I just threw at you.
We're in the same mission. We're exploring that same question. That's the mission. Yeah. I don't have an answer. I was recently rereading Wild Nights.
Yeah, David Data.
Yeah. And
what a great book.
And what I'm getting with that reminder is the breath and being present. Like, am I really here right now? Like, am I really here in this moment? And I feel like in that, shame can't exist.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm actually fully in the moment, fully present and breathing, there isn't any room for shame. That's not a practical answer, but also there's something really true there.
Yeah. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. And I feel like that's really what I'm doing with people when I'm sitting with them one-on-one and diving into this is like, okay, come back to breathing.
Yeah.
Come back to this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. We say breath, sound, and movement are the ways to move shame, guilt, and fear. Yeah.
Yeah. The shame, guilt, and fear that seem pretty part and parcel with this human experience that we all have. Everyone has pieces of that. If you grew up on planet Earth in this era, you have aspects of that. And what I'm hearing you say is the process of exploring different ways to move that, to come into awareness of, consciousness with, that the moments or aspects of yourself that were shamed, the experiences themselves, whether they're traumatic, whether they're remembered or just subconscious, being able to work with that, that's how you're able to help people, specifically men, but not just men, right? You work with women as well, couples too, be able to start to open themselves up to a new kind of experience.
Yeah. It's like maybe there's a fantasy or compulsion or something that's really holding someone that they're feeling a lot of weight around. It can be as simple as like, okay, let's talk about that and let's stay present. Let's breathe. Let's bring yourself, your being fully into the moment to just speak it out, share it out, let that out. And that is healing. Like that's liberation. That's freedom. Doesn't have to be a huge thing. Sometimes it is, but yeah. So I think for anyone listening, it's like we all can feel or know the things that have weight, the things that burden us, the things that are heavy in our being and in our mind. And it's like, where can you bring that to someone? Where can you reveal that with breath, with presence? The
thing that we all want and need, presence from others, presence from ourselves, the thing that allows us to be in the present moment that we lose as we get caught up and wrapped up in life and the rushing around and the doing and all these different things. I know that I'm just realizing we were going to start this episode with a prayer, with a call to presence, let's say, which is something I've done, I think at least once on another episode that for those of you guys who don't know this, I try to open all my episodes with my guest before we hit record, of a prayer to call in the intention that we want to create the opportunity to serve those who are listening, what we're working through in the connection, to be able to really bring something of service down and into the field for us, for all of us. And so I think what a beautiful opportunity, because again, you and I met and you invited me into something. You invited me into some conscious creation around what ended up happening. And when we met, I was in a celibacy vow from one of my teachers, Justin Patrick Pierce, who was helping me in his words, clear the heroin of a certain form of addiction to a unhealthy feminine archetype that I kept dating, that I kept encountering, that kept showing up. And his prescription to me was 9 months of celibacy. Now, that doesn't mean there were some very specific practices that I do, that edging practices. And so there were self-pleasure practices, but the invitation was not to ejaculate, not to have any sex. And I did that. And then once that completed, we ended up doing this, which we may talk about, the sex magic workshop that we did in New York in 2018, which I still have friends that talk about it because it was a pretty powerful thing. But so we're going to pray. Let's pray. And we're going to invite you guys listening to, this has been a huge part of my own life and my own spiritual practice of just taking a moment, whether I'm at a restaurant with friends, I'm at their house, whatever it is, to actually stop, and whether it can be over food, which is kind of a socially acceptable form of prayer. You pray over your food, but to actually set an intentionality behind this. And to me, this is what makes sex sacred. It's what makes anything sacred, to make it special, to make it intentional, to bring awareness and consciousness to it. And I love that you just jumped in and caught it, right? It's like, it's always the right moment. Whenever the presence hits deeper, it's like, that's the moment for it. And that's it. And that's, you can make brushing your teeth a sacred experience. You really can. You can imbue anything with the sacred. We're going to talk about what she's got in this bag over here. Maybe I don't know if she'll let us see it, but she's got her mesa over here, her little witchy kit with her. But let's pray. Let's do this. So I'm going to invite everyone listening to, just take a second. If you're driving, keep your eyes open, please. But just allow yourself to be filled with the possibility of what happens when two or more gather in the name of something greater than themselves. And so right now, Liv and I here in this moment, offering ourselves up and the fruits of this conversation in service of the greater collective, in service of all of us coming into right relationship with our own sexuality, with the way sex can be incredible and beautiful and special, and also how to take it with reverence and how to hold it sacred, how to let it be serious and also playful. May the fruits of this conversation truly serve everyone listening, where you can discover that there's so much more to sex and sexuality than you're experiencing, that there's maybe pockets of guilt, shame, or punishment that are wanting to be healed. May whatever we speak to here today truly come through as a transmission from something greater than ourselves through you and me, Liv, and be of service to our collective, who all of us, like myself, like you, are yearning and striving to bring more of the sacred to every aspect of our life, and in this case, sexuality. Love to pass it to you, Liv, if you'd like to say any words as well.
May everything we share and the energy behind it land in the hearts of humanity and really remember their true nature as love, as God, as expressions of divine. May this be for the highest good of all life on the planet, all of existence, and ripple forward and backward in time to right any wrongs, right any misconceptions, any distortions, for clarity, for vision, for light to enter into life in this moment.
Thank you, Liv.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liv Love. You have love tattooed on your chest.
I do. I do.
You do.
The short story of that is 2020, I rebaptized myself in service to love. And then I did a 6-week mystery school called Haydn Temple later that year.
In New Zealand.
I couldn't get there. The borders were closed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that was
so
the year that everyone did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were on Zoom with our teacher in New Zealand, but 30 of us.
Can we say his name?
Bruce Lyon.
That guy.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Zeus himself in human form.
Yeah. So 30 of us lived
Bruce
in
Lyons.
Bruce Lyon.
Dude, this guy.
If you look him up on YouTube, you'll understand why we're doing that.
Legit.
Yeah. But yeah, we lived in supposedly a retreat center. It was really just open nature out in the woods. And then we were on Zoom with our teacher. And yeah, the purpose of that journey was to bring our soul purpose into our body more fully. And we got to consecrate our body and our being to be in service of something. And different people felt different callings. Some people were called to, be in service of the evolution of consciousness. Some people are in service to children. Some people were in service to, financial freedom in the world. And my truth just continually was being in service of love itself, of the energy to me that created life, that life originated from. And the final weekend on break, I went into town and we had done a ritual, and I inscribed the word love with charcoal on my chest and this big sigil around it. And it was still kind of there. And I was like, you know what? I need the reminder. I need the reminder every day when I look in the mirror. Like, why am I here? Like, it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to get off track. And I was like, that's my reminder. So I wrote the word love on a piece of paper and they tattooed it on my chest.
I love it. We may or may not get to your other tattoos.
That might be episode 2.
That might be episode 2 or 3 even. We might have to work up to it.
We gotta let them adjust.
We do. Well, it's like, you're someone that I've always seen as maybe the most authentic person I know in this space. And that's saying something, because I know a lot of people. I know a lot of famous people in the space. And there's always been something about you, Liv, that is just completely guileless, that is completely authentic. Like, you are living as love, which to me is an act. Love is an action. I think Data actually writes about that. I don't know if it's in Wild Nights, but that you are someone that I see living your life as an act of love. I see it with you, with your daughter. I see it with you, with former partners. I experienced it with you when we were in partnership back in 2019, and that little thing we did, whatever that thing was, which was amazing. But there's this thing I really want to ask you, because again, I don't feel nor see any guilt, shame, or punishment in your system at all. Which is really why I wanted to bring you on here, because you exist. And I don't think a lot of people think people like you can exist, because you're either one extreme or the other. And you're someone that, and we might get into your deeper origins. And I know we have limited time today. So I want to, again, episode 2, episode 3, maybe we can get there. But there's this thing where, what it means to be in service to love. What it means to treat sex as a sacred act, as a sacred object. And because sex and sexual energy is life force energy, it's life itself. And our culture for a very long time has been suppressing that. And not without good reason. Because again, unconscious desire is rape. Unconscious desire is unplanned pregnancy. Unwanted desire and unwanted sexuality can do immense amounts of harm. And so can suppressing life force energy itself in a human being, because sex is going to find a way to come out.
Yeah.
And so we have the Catholic Church scandals. We have all those sideways ways, the porn industry, all these different things where, when in so many of the men's groups I do, I would never have thought it, but like so many people have paid for sex, are paying for sex, or feel like they have to get it in these other around the way ways. How do we claim sexuality in a healthy way? How have you done it? How do we make sex and love and life this, I'm going to say it, this threesome, this menage a trois, the goodness that it really is?
Yeah.
And I'm super curious about, one thing I love about you is I always hear you bring it back to your own experience. So how have you been able to do it, Liv? And then maybe from there you can share some, I don't know if it's advice or just like what you see for other people.
Yeah. Just going to see what wants to be said about that.
She's living, everyone. She's doing what she does. Just wait, just watch, just be quiet. Just watch. I was going to say no pressure, but
no
you
pressure.
won't. She won't have pressure.
No,
She'll just, it'll just go.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-connection. Self-connection is a starting point for me. And where I usually take people, no matter if someone's in a 20-year marriage or dating or recently divorced, or, comes in with their husband, one of my first questions is, how's your connection with your own sex? Like what happens when it's just you and yourself? And I haven't talked about my teacher, Ed, yet, but I have.
Wow, I remember you talking about Ed back in the day.
Yeah. So, I got divorced in 2016. I was married for 5 years and got divorced when I was 24, and called my high school best friend, John, early. And I said, hey, I don't know why, but got a spiritual message. I need to call you. Where are you? What are you doing? I haven't talked to you in probably 7 years. And he said, oh, I'm in Austin and I'm going to ecstatic dance. And I did something called the Landmark Forum, and I started my own business, and I started dating for the first time ever. And I'm not depressed anymore. And I got naked in this old man's living room and talked about all the things I hate about myself. And I think that was probably the best thing I did. And I said, I want to do all of that. I want to do all of that. And he said, great, come to Austin and I'll take you around and we'll do all of that. And definitely going and meeting with Ed, this unassuming, does not have a website, has a flip phone to this day, old man. He's turning 85 this year. So he was 78, probably 77 when I met him. And the key word about Ed is presence. I have never met a more present human. And he's been around the block. He knows David Data. He knows the person that started Landmark directly. He knows all the people, all the big teachers. He's been around them, but he never got intoxicated by it. He never got the distortion of the access to that kind of clarity.
The cult.
Yeah. So he says he's just a man, and that he is. And I would say there's something very true about that.
I think Christ might have said that once or twice as well.
Yeah.
Or the Council of Nicaea him into something unattainable to normal people.
Yeah. So Ed was one of the first people to ask me questions like, what do you think about your pussy? And do you ever touch your own body? And when are you naked? And how do you feel being naked? And he really dove in with me from the get-go. I mean, I went to his house to do one of the ultimate shame release practices called a body presentation. I don't know him, never met him, never talked to him, walk in, and I'm naked within probably 10 minutes. And I'm talking about, you know, my insecurity of my acne scars and the black hairs that grow on my chin and what I've thought about my breasts and, you know, my trying to stay skinny or trying to gain weight or how I've worked out, or I used to shave my whole body, anything, things I had never said out loud. And I just let it rip. And that's where my journey with him started. And that was my starting point. And he called me every day for about 2 years. And he would ask me questions and he would give me practices. And and he gave me work like, try to just hold your yoni. Just like see how long you can just hold your hands on your yoni, like till you want to get up or go do something or check your phone or, you know, and like getting present with myself. So how to bring the sacred and the sexual and love all together. Like get present, lean into the discomfort, jump off the diving board. And I think those valuable questions of like, what is it like for you as a person when you're alone with just you and your body? Like, am I present in my body? Right? Am I thinking about other things? Am I connecting with myself? Am I listening to my body, to God, to spirit?
Yeah. I'm remembering as you're saying this, we did body presentations in my apartment in Brooklyn at the Lightning Society Lofts.
We sure did.
We got a bunch of people together.
Yeah, we did.
And then we did that. And it was pretty magical. Yeah, it's wild because, you know, it's like, I think it bears saying, like, you grew up in a pretty Christian
Catholic
household, right? Catholics aren't exactly well known for being, you know, sex positive, to say the least. Given where you are now, how did you get here from there? And where's the full circle of the whole thing? Because again, I think there are some ideas and some more esoteric, even Gnostic ideas of Christianity and some of the alternative views of Christ in relationship and the potential of that sacred partnership. And I know you speak a lot about this, but I'm just going to give you the floor here a little bit and see what wants to live.
Yeah, the full circle that I'm present to right now is actually with Mother Mary. So this last year, a little over a year since Anna Rose was born, I'm kind of obsessed with Mary, actually, right now. I painted her on my shed.
That was you that painted that?
My mom and I actually painted her together. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And specifically Guadalupe. And you picked up a book in my kitchen the other day, The Way of the Rose. Yeah. So, the deep dive I've been on with Mary is where she's a representation of the earth as mother. And, you know, how are we connected to the earth as mother and our original mother, and where are we doing right by her? Where are we off track? And where is the earth itself like guiding us in what's happening on the planet right now? Yeah. Let me see if I can bring it back in. But I would say Mary and my connection with her, and like actually just being in prayerful reflection and connecting to her spirit, which to me is earth, but it's also Mary, a being that birthed Christ. That's been my full circle of where I've come back around. And as a child, oh my God, I was in pre-K, like daycare that you go to during Sunday school. Like I wasn't even in school yet. And they would be talking about things and I would be like, can my cat go to heaven? And they would be like, nope. And I would be like, I'm out of here. Like, this is bullshit. You know, my guinea pigs died and I wanted to have a funeral. And so one of my teachers was saying something about like, you know, is that like heresy? Like you can't pray for your pet's soul, like just weird shit where what I knew as true. And like that I knew life was sacred and being told that was wrong, you know? And
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say I really struggled. I dropped out of second grade, Catholic school, second grade. I got sent back to school in sixth grade to a Lutheran school.
Oh,
I would
man.
skip school and go sneak out and go to Subway and buy chocolate chip cookies. Like I never could conform. And I would say what I felt was that the truth of what I knew inside me was always going to be deeper than what anyone was telling me I should believe. And there's something, I guess, bringing it back about Mary that I feel like when I connect with her energy, she points me towards what's true in me. She's not saying, this is the way, or you must do this, or this is what's right.
Sounds like a good coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pointing you back to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, that flies in direct conflict with Catholicism, or just so many of their traditions with the priestly class as the intermediaries between us and God, and what it means to have your own direct communication with the divine, your own direct connection with something greater than yourself. And for me, that's been, these last 3 months, I've gone through something truly transformational. Where I really thought that because I've always been spiritual. I've always had a spiritual practice. I'm so grateful to my parents. I got to grow up with the Christian tradition, with Buddhism, with Tibetan Buddhism, with Hinduism through my dad, and yoga and all these different things. And there's something that is, well, A, that we're missing, and B, that is available. That it feels like is really becoming available in the world again somehow. That people are really ready. Yeah. People are really ready to make sex holy.
Yeah. I got something.
I know you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that thing is in every cell of our body.
Yeah.
And that thing, God, God thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but really, you said something earlier about how do these two cells come together, and then there's a human and there's life. It's like the act of conception is our proof that God is real, that magic is real, that something way beyond our conceptualization
or
is
understanding
the origin of life. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that.
And sex is in direct service to that.
Sex is the only way to get that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
what could
laboratory
be more
sex.
sacred than? What could be more holy? What could be more worthy of reverence?
But just in that, right? If you are a human, which you are, I don't think any cats are intentionally getting on Spotify and pulling this up to listen today, right? If you're a human and you're listening, it's like that sacredness is you. You can't not be sacred, and you can't deny that there's a connection to that.
Yeah. Which always brings to mind for me, like, okay, so if that's true, and you wanted to fuck with people, and you wanted to divorce people from their own sacredness, from their own connection to God, from their own connection to the divine, you would put something between humans and their own sexuality. You would find a way to make it dirty and filthy, and you would condemn them to a life of the ultimate conundrum of my whole body and being is telling me to engage in an act, in the procreative act, procreation, for creation, for life. And these people are telling me that this is dirty and I shouldn't be doing it, and it's a sin. And again, not give credit where it's due. Like, we do need to have consciousness around this. We do need to bring awareness to this. But
it's the ultimate way to rob everyone of power. It's the ultimate way. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, also Mama Mary.
Yeah. Hi, Mama Mary.
She gave me a good one this morning. She said, I read this article this morning. They said science has proven that the human body emits light and that the light goes away when we're dead. She goes, isn't it so silly that we need science to tell us that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which brings us, well, go ahead. No, please, please.
This idea about like light, You know, what is that, and where is that hidden, right? And it's
vibration. It's
There's a lot of filters and a lot of gunk that is created in a lot of different ways by powerful sources in the world to hide that light. You know? So I think it's about
so I didn't mean to cut you off.
So
how do we make sex holy? How do the listeners out there who may be, you know, in this work already, or may just be completely listening or stepping into marriage, or maybe you're even a virgin, or all these different things, like so much of, there's so many things we should be taught when we're teenagers earlier, and we're not being given anything. And then we're being given ubiquitous access to pornography and all these things that just, how do we make sex holy again?
The starting point for me is spending time every day connecting with my body. This thing I mentioned, the homework from Ed. So taking it out of even sex as an act, but to being in my body as a person, as a human woman or a human man, human person. It's like for anyone, for everyone, like, can I actually like bring my hands onto my body and feel that and breathe and like get present in that? Okay, I can do that. I can stay there. Okay, now let me get the sparkly feeling going. That's what I call turn on, the sparkly feeling. We all know it, right? Can I get that feeling going without thinking about the hot girl from Starbucks, without the porn, without needing my husband, wife, partner, date, right? Can I get that sparkle going myself? And then can I bring that to another person? Can I set a reason that we're there together? What's the reason? Really, any reason, right? But can I get a reason? Can we get present? And then can we stay present? Can we try to stay present? Can we realize we forgot our prayer and pause and pray, right? And then I notice, oh, she's not present. He's not present. Where did you go? Can I call the other back to presence? And can I just keep breathing? Can I let that open? Can I think about that I'm my body and I'm with this body and I'm not my body and this other person is not their body? Why are we really here? What are we really doing? That's how to me.
Sex is a prayer. Be able to bring that in, that level of awareness, that level of connection, that level of consciousness, that level of communication, to be able to actually be with each other and not just trying to get the rocks off, to friction fuck, to get something that's bad and taboo that I shouldn't get. And you might not want if you sober up. So I need to, you know, it's like that type of reality that most people experience. I think most people don't actually, I don't even know. I feel I talk about this a lot. It's like the sex that people are having in porn is terrible sex. It's just not good. And it makes you a bad lover if you emulate it. And all of us for most of us, the majority of us, that's our only source of sex education is really bad sex between two people that are faking it. Or on some type of performance enhancing drug.
Lots of drugs.
Lots of drugs.
Lots of surgery. Of
fakeness, fuckery, all this stuff to make something happen. Versus what you're talking about, which is allowing sparkle to actually happen. Because I would challenge any of those porn stars to not take a drug, to not look at something or think of something, and be able to actually create turn on in their own body on their own. And the oversensitization that we're all struggling with.
I'm sure you know this one, that everything is about sex except for sex, which is about power.
Who said that?
I don't know.
I've heard
them, they, somebody.
Well,
I don't know.
In this culture, I think that's been true for a long.
Porn is not about sex. It's not. It's about power. And it's about
money.
Actually, not being in our power.
Which is why it's legal and why it's easily accessed and why it's completely just available to anyone and everyone. No one has the guts to stop it. It's a fascinating thing. The last topic I do want to get to is sex magic. And what it is that we're actually speaking about here. And this was 2018, it's 2025 right now. We did this in 2018. Fuck have I been doing with myself? What you're talking about, the process of bringing intentionality to the sexual act is what sex magic essentially is. It is not a form of demonic witchcraft. It is simply bringing intention to the sexual act with the recognition that if a man and a woman have unprotected sex while she is in her fertile period, a life is brought into the world. For those instances where a life is not being brought into the world, that potential energy,
power.
Yeah, that truly the power that can create life can be directed to other things, can be directed towards healing, can be directed towards creation, can be directed towards a new business, can be directed towards healing your torn meniscus, whatever. Not that you have a torn meniscus, cancel clearly. But that there's so much play and fun and real power, like not power over, but power with, like the empowering of something, that turning on of potential, like potential for something to emerge in the space. Yeah. So the process of sex magic, how would you describe it?
Thank you. Yeah. I think you already said it, Michael. But yeah, breaking it down again, it's getting clear. What do I want? What am I creating right now? How do I want to feel? Really would be the starting point, right? How do I want to feel today in this moment, in this experience, in the week ahead? And then is there anything in the real world that I intend, that I desire, right? And I think that our desire and what we imagine, our imagination, what comes to us when we are truly clear is divine, right? It's like, where does that come from? Who thought up a skyscraper, right? That everything in the world is imagination made real. And so, it requires taking a moment, many moments, how many ever moments to get clear. What do I want? What do I want to create? And then you either writing it down, saying it out loud, holding it in your heart. But I really love the power of writing things down, as I know you do.
I do, you do.
I see your notes on your laptop.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah. So it's like, I work with a monthly cycle of what I'm creating now based on the new moon, but could be begin at May 1st, June 1st, doesn't matter, right? It's like every month. And then every morning I try to get up and create, all right, what am I intending for today? How do I want to feel today? What do I intend to happen today? And then when I go into self-pleasure, rather than thinking about the hot girl at Starbucks, I don't know why apparently I really have a thing for hot girls at Starbucks, but I'm thinking, okay, right. Finishing the post I was writing, seeing it go out into the world. Okay. Showing up, having a successful workshop tonight. Okay. Navigating this challenging conversation I need to have with my mom or my partner and seeing it go well. It can be anything, right? But I see our body as a battery almost. It's like, and most often in the world, we wake up and our battery's not really on, right? We've been asleep. We're pretty low and we need to do something to get that battery on. And to me, sexuality, self-pleasure, movement, breath, all that fills my battery. And when my battery is full, that's when I can really create. So,
and this is something that you teach people. This is something that you mentor people.
This is everything I teach people. Yeah.
Where can people find you, Liv? Where, if people wanted to reach out for any or all of the work that you do, where can we find you? Instagram is the best. Okay. Liv, Liv, Love, Tantra, or my website, oliviapavlov.com. This has been so much fun. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for being a part of reclaiming sexuality as a holy act and as a sacred act and as the true divine dance between men and women. May we all continue our healing journey of coming back to ourselves and back to each other and learning how to make this beautiful thing called love, called sex, called life, truly sacred. Yeah. And Michael, thank you for coming back to the truth of that, of what love and connection is with me over time. And we didn't talk about it today, but it's a success to me that we can move through being partners,
being friends, being collaborators.
Yeah.
And
being in non-communication.
Yeah. We were out of touch for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
It just came out.
Secret joke for those who will know.
But no, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back to
You're so welcome.
Connection. And this is a joy.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
More next time. And thanks to everyone for listening. I hope this truly served you. And yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more guests coming, but just thank you for supporting the show, and feel free to share with anyone that you feel might need to hear this, for anyone who is working to claim their own healthy sexuality and to heal the wounds of guilt, shame, and punishment that we all carry in this culture. They are not forever and can be put down, and is best done with help and with friends.
That's right.
So big love, guys. We'll see you soon.